Oh, pardon me.
Oh, you needn't. I was looking at the house, and I got tired and ran away.
Well, to tell the truth, so did I. It's dull work, isn't it?
I've been upstairs and down for 2 hours. That family portrait gallery finished me. I was so old and gloomy and dead, I felt as if I were dead myself. I just had to do something. So I just slipped away quietly and came here.
Well, I've only been here half an hour, and well, I've only been in the basement. That's why our tours of inspection didn't bring us together sooner. I've been cross-examining that furnace. Do you know anything about furnaces? I don't. Mind if I sit next to you?
Please, do you like family portraits? I hate them.
What? Do the family portraits come with the house?
No, thank heaven. They've been bequeathed to some museum, I'm told.
Huh. Wait a minute. Didn't I see you at that real estate office in New York yesterday?
Yes.
I thought I remembered seeing you with him, the man you're with today.
Isn't he just the sort of man who'd be interested in family portraits?
Well, since you ask me.
Oh, that's all right. Tubby's a dear in spite of his old funny ways. I like him very much.
Yes.
He's so anxious to please me in buying this house. I suppose it's all right to have a house, but Tubby doesn't always seem to understand me. He drags me everywhere through the house, explaining how we'll keep this and change that, dormer windows here and perhaps a new wing there. I suppose you've been rebuilding the house in your mind too?
Oh, no. I merely decided to turn that sunny south room into a study. It would make a very pleasant place to work. But if you really want the place, I would hate to take it away from you.
I was just going to say, if you really wanted it, I'd withdraw. It was Tubby's idea to buy it, not mine. You do want it, don't you?
I can't say that I do. It's so infernally big. But Maria thinks I ought to have it. Maria is.
He's the one who's interested in furnaces. I understand. I saw her with you at the real estate office yesterday. Well, furnaces are necessary, I suppose. Have you heard of the story of the people who used to live here?
No, why?
Oh, the agent was telling us. It's quite romantic and rather sad. You see, the man that built this house was in love with the girl. He was building it for her as a surprise, but he had neglected to mention that he was in love with her. And so she married another man, though she was really in love with him. The news came in just when he had finished the house. He shut it up for a year or two, but he married someone else. And they lived here for 10 years, most unhappily. Then they went abroad and the house was sold. It was bought, curiously enough, by the husband of the girl he had been in love with. They lived here till they died, hating each other to the end, the agent says.
Gives me the chills to think of this house haunted by the memories of wasted love. Which one of us, I wonder, will get to live in it? I certainly don't want to.
Oh, don't take it so seriously. If one can't live in a house where there's been an unhappy marriage, why, good heavens, where's one going to live? Most marriages, I believe, are unhappy.
A bitter philosophy for one so young and for one
Nonsense.
so.
But listen to the rest of the story. The most interesting part about this is about this very orchard.
Really, this one? The one we're sitting in now?
Yes, this orchard, it seems, was here before the house was. It was part of an old farm where the unhappy lovers stopped by one day while they were out driving and asked for something to eat. The farmer's wife was busy, but she each gave them a glass of milk and told them they could eat all the cherries they wanted. So they picked a hatful of cherries and ate them, sitting on a bench like this one. And then he fell in love with her.
And he didn't tell her so.
So you see, this orchard is haunted too.
I hear it. I seem to hear the ghost of this old-time lover whispering to me.
Indeed. What does he say?
He says, I was a coward, you must be bold. I was silent, you must speak out.
That's very curious, because that old lover isn't dead at all. He's a congressman or senator or something, the agent says.
It's all the same. His youth is dead, and it's his youth that speaks to me.
And what is it that you must speak out about?
Well, only that I love you.
No, this is wrong.
It's inevitable.
Why inevitable? Can't you talk with a girl in an orchard without falling in love with her?
Not if that girl is you.
But why especially me?
I don't know. Love is a mystery. I only know that I was destined to love you.
How can you be so sure?
Because you've changed the world for me. It's as if I've been groping around in the darkness, and then suddenly, a sunrise.
That's enough.
It's perfectly absurd, and it's absolutely true. I've never spoken to you before, and heaven knows if I'll ever get a chance to speak to you again. But I'd never forgive myself if I didn't say this to you now. I love you, I love you, I love you. Why don't you speak?
I have nothing to say except that I feel some of those symptoms myself.
You love me.
I don't know. Yes, perhaps.
Then kiss me.
Oh, no.
Kiss me.
Oh, what's the use?
I don't know and I don't care. I only know that we love each other.
I don't care either. I do want to kiss you.
Wait, no, it's wrong.
Is it?
You suppose anyone's likely to come this way?
No.
Your husband is still probably in the portrait gallery.
My husband? What do you mean? You don't think you thought poor old Tubby was my husband?
Why isn't he your husband?
No, he's my uncle.
Your uncle?
Yes, of course. Do you suppose I'd be married to a man that's fat and bald and 40 years old?
I beg your pardon. I did think so.
Just because you saw me with him. How ridiculous.
It was a silly mistake. You spoke so realistically about marriage.
It was your marriage I was speaking about.
My marriage? And good heavens, to whom did you think I was married? You thought I was married to Maria? Maria's my aunt.
Yes, of course. How stupid of me.
Let's get one thing straight. Are you married to anybody?
Certainly not.
Now, don't put on airs. You did something quite as improper. You said you loved a married man.
I didn't.
You thought I was married. It's the same thing.
You aren't.
No, I'm not. And you're not married. In fact...
Yes?
Well, in fact, there's no reason in the world why we shouldn't love each other.
Why, that's so.
Then, shall we?
Oh, not if you don't want to.
Well, I suppose under the circumstances, I suppose I ought to begin by asking you to marry me.
You don't seem very anxious to.
It isn't that, but, well...
Well, what?
I don't even know your name.
That didn't seem to stop you a short while ago.
Well then, will you marry me?
No.
No? Why do you say that?
Why should I marry you? I know nothing about you.
All right. I'm very sorry I can't do it.
Perhaps it's because you don't love me anymore.
Of course I love you.
But you don't want to marry me. I see.
Not at all. I do want to marry you, but
Well,
marriage is a serious matter. Now, don't take offense. I only meant that, well, we're in love with each other, and that's the important thing. But it's as you said, we know nothing about each other.
you're just like Tubby buying a house. You want to know all about it. Well, I warn you, you're never going to know all about me, so you needn't try.
It was your suggestion.
All right. Go ahead and cross-examine me all you like. I'll tell you to begin with that I'm perfectly healthy and that there's no TB, insanity, or socialism in my family. What else do you want to know?
Why did you put socialism in there along with TB and insanity?
Oh, just for fun. You aren't a socialist, are you?
Yes, in fact, I am. Do you know what socialism is?
It's the same thing as anarchy, isn't it?
Oh, no, at least not my kind. I believe in the municipal ownership of streetcars and that sort of thing. I can give you some book straight if you like.
Well, I never ride in streetcars, so I don't care whether they're municipally owned or not. By the way, do you dance?
No, I don't.
You must learn right away. I can't bother to teach you myself, but I know where you can get private lessons. It is stupid not to be able to dance.
Well, I don't want to learn to dance. You might as well know that to begin with.
And I won't read your old books on socialism. You might as well know that to begin with.
Come, my dear, this will never do. You see, it's simply that I've no inclination towards dancing. It's out of my world.
And I have no inclination towards municipal ownership. It's out of my world.
It ought not to be out of the world of any intelligent person.
All right, if you want to call me stupid.
It appears we have very few tastes in common.
So it seems.
If we married, we'd be happy for a month.
Perhaps.
And then the old story. Quarrels.
An unhappy marriage.
I'm sorry, I can't marry you.
Nobody asked you, sir.
Well, there seems to be nothing more to say.
Except goodbye.
Goodbye, then.
Goodbye.
Damn it all, we do love each other.
What a pity that is the only taste we have in common.
Do you suppose that's enough?
I wish it were.
A month of happiness.
Yes.
And then wretchedness.
No, never.
We mustn't do it.
I suppose not.
Come, let us control ourselves.
Yes, let's.
I wish you happiness. I'll go to Europe for a year. Try to forget me.
I shall be married when you get back, perhaps.
I hope it's not somebody that's fat and bald and 40. Otherwise.
And you, for goodness sake, marry a girl that's very young and very, very pretty. That will help.
We mustn't prolong this. If we stay together another minute, then...
Go.
I can't go.
You must, darling, you must.
Excuse me?
The agent.
Hi, young man. You should know that they've arranged it all.
Who've arranged what?
Your aunt, Miss Brooke, and your uncle, Mr. Egerton.
Egerton. Are you Helen Egerton?
And are you George Brooke?
Well, your aunt and uncle have just discovered each other up at the house, and they've arranged for you all to take dinner tonight, and then go to a 10-day house party at Mr. Egerton's place on Long Island. The reason for all of this will be plain to you. They want you two to get married.
Well, we're done for now. We'll have to get married, whether we want to or not.
What? It's just to please them. I shan't do it.
You don't know my Aunt Maria.
And Tubby will try and bully me, I suppose. But I won't do it, no matter what he says.
Pardon me, miss, but is it really true you don't want to marry this young man?
No doubt it seems ridiculous to you.
Not at all, my boy. I've known marriage to go to smash on far less than that. When you come to think of it, a taste for dancing and a taste for municipal ownership stand at the two ends of the earth away from each other. They represent two different ways of taking life. And if two people who live in the same house can't agree on those two things, they disagree on 100 things that come up every day. And what's the use for two different kinds of beings to try to live together? It doesn't work no matter how much love there is between them.
So you're on our side. You'll help us not get married.
Your aunt is very set on it, and your uncle too, miss.
We must find some way to get out of it, or they'll have us cooped together in that house before we know it. Can't you think of some scheme?
Perhaps I can, perhaps I can't. I'm a bachelor myself, miss, and that means I've thought up many a scheme to get out of marriage myself.
You old scoundrel.
Oh, it's not as bad as you may think, miss. I've always gone through the marriage ceremony to please them, but that's not what I call marriage.
Then what do you call marriage?
Yes, I'd like to know.
Marriage, my young friends, is a grossly unfair arrangement devised by the devil himself for driving all of the love out of the hearts of lovers. They start out as much in love with each other as you two are today, and by the end being as sick of the sight of each other as you two will be in 5 years hence, if I don't find a way of saving you alive out of the devil's own trap. It's not lack of love that's the trouble with marriage, it's marriage itself. And when I say marriage, I don't mean promising to love, honor, obey, for rich or poor, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. That's only human nature to wish and to attempt. And it might be done if it weren't for the devilish arrangement of marriage.
But why?
Ah, my dear boy, if I tell you, you won't believe me. You'll go ahead, try it out, and find out what all the unhappy ones have found out before you. Listen to me, my children. Marriage is the nest-building instinct turned by the devil himself into an institution to hold the human souls in chains. The whole story of marriage is told in the old riddle, why do birds in their nests agree? Because if they don't, they'll fall out. That's it. Marriage is a nest so small that there's no room in it for disagreement. Now, it may be all right for birds to agree, but human beings are not built that way. They disagree, and home becomes a little hell, or else they do agree at the expense of the soul's freedom stifled in one or both.
Yes, but tell me.
Shh.
Yet there is the nest building instinct. You feel it, both of you. If you don't now, you will as soon as you're married. If you're fools, you'll try to live all of your lives in a love nest, and you imprison your souls within, and the devil will laugh.
I'm beginning to be afraid of him.
So am I.
If you're wise, you will build yourselves a little nest secretly in the woods, away from civilization, and you'll run away together to that nest whenever you're in the mood. A nest so small that it will only hold two beings and one thought, the thought of love. And when you come back refreshed to civilization, where every soul is different from each other's soul, you will let each other alone, forget each other, and do your own work in peace. Do you understand?
He means we should occupy separate sides of the house? I think. Or else that we should live apart and only see each other on weekends. I'm not sure which.
I mean that you should not stifle love with civilization, nor encumber civilization with love. What have they to do with each other? You will think that you want a fellow student of economics, you are wrong. Do you think you want a dance partner? You are mistaken. You want a revelation of the glory of the universe.
He's quite mad.
Absolutely.
Mad? Of course I'm mad, but...
Ah, here you are. Thought you'd given us a slip, did you? He escaped from the asylum a week ago and got a job here. We've been hunting him high and low. Come along now.
What's the matter with him?
Matter with him? He went crazy. And if he wasn't in the insane asylum, he'd be in jail. He's a bigamist, he is. He married 14 women, but none of them would go on the witness stand against him. Said he was an ideal husband, they did. 14 of them. But otherwise, he is perfectly harmless.
Perfectly harmless. Yes, perfectly harmless.
That explains it all.
Yes, and yet I do feel like there was something in what he was saying.
Well, are we going to get married or not? We've got to decide that before we face my uncle and your aunt.
Of course we'll get married. You have your work, and I have mine. And
Well, if we do, then you can't have that sunny south room for a study. I want it for the nursery.
the nursery?
Yes, babies, you know.
Oh, brother.